Welcome, history enthusiasts, to tonight's journey into the heart of one of Europe's most fascinating cities, Barcelona. Imagine yourself walking through the narrow, cobbled streets, where every corner tells a story. The Gothic Quarter, or Barri Gòtic as it's known in Catalan, is more than just a district in Barcelona. It's a living, breathing testament to the city's ancient past, full of secrets, hidden gems, and the echoes of centuries gone by. In this video, we'll uncover the rise and fall of Barcelona's Gothic Quarter, tracing its roots back to Roman times and exploring how it evolved into the majestic medieval city we see today. The Gothic Quarter holds within its walls centuries of historical events, from the rise of medieval Barcelona as a center of power and culture, to the decline of its influence in later centuries. We'll take you through the alleys and landmarks, exploring the tales of kings, rebellions, plagues, and wars that shaped this iconic district. But this isn't just a history lesson, it's a journey through time. Tonight, we'll explore the mysteries behind its Gothic architecture, the stories hidden in its medieval walls, and the secrets it holds about Barcelona's growth into a modern global city. And as we walk through its ancient streets, you'll see how the Gothic Quarter evolved, adapted, and transformed over the centuries. Before we dive deep into this fascinating story, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from tonight? What time is it where you are? I always enjoy seeing how far-reaching our conversations are, whether you're listening from Barcelona itself, or from the other side of the world. And if you're as intrigued by the secrets of the Gothic Quarter as I am, hit that like button and let us know in the comments. Have you ever walked through the Gothic Quarter in Barcelona? What was your favorite part of the city? I can't wait to hear your thoughts, and I might even feature some of your responses in future videos. So, let's begin our journey through time, uncovering the hidden history of Barcelona's Gothic Quarter. The streets are waiting to tell their story. Let's step back in time and discover its rise, its decline, and the secrets it still holds today. The city of Barcelona, known today for its vibrant culture, stunning architecture, and Mediterranean allure, has a history that stretches back thousands of years, one that began long before the Gothic Quarter was even a glimmer in the city's eye. To understand the Gothic Quarter and how it came to be, we must first turn back the pages of time to the very birth of Barcelona, a city that began not as a sprawling metropolis, but as a humble settlement in the shadows of the mighty Roman Empire. The story of Barcelona's rise begins with the arrival of the Romans on the Iberian Peninsula around the middle of the 1st century BCE. The Romans were not the first to set foot in this coastal area. Phoenician sailors had established a settlement here long before, but it was the Romans who transformed this small community into a key strategic and commercial center. The earliest reference to Barcelona comes from the Roman historian Pomponius Mela, who recorded the existence of a place called Barcino, which he described as a Roman settlement in Hispania. It was in the year 15 BCE, under the reign of Emperor Augustus, that the Romans formally founded the city of Barcino. Situated on a small hill near the Mediterranean Sea, Barcino would grow into an important military post and commercial hub. At its core, Barcino was a Roman colony, a place where retired Roman soldiers were granted land to settle, forming the foundation of the Roman presence in the area. These early settlers began to lay down the city's street grid, one of the most recognizable features of Roman towns. The Romans were masterful urban planners, and the foundations they set in Barcino would influence the city's layout for centuries to come. The Roman Forum, the heart of political, social, and economic life, was established near what would later become the Plaça de Sant Jaume, a focal point for the Gothic Quarter centuries later. Barcino was strategically located, benefiting from its proximity to the sea and the Via Augusta, the Roman road that connected the southern Mediterranean with the northern parts of the Roman Empire. The Romans built a strong defensive wall around the settlement, parts of which are still visible today, embedded within the fabric of the Gothic Quarter. These walls, originally built for protection against outside invaders, became one of the city's most enduring landmarks, and they marked the beginning of Barcelona's iconic medieval landscape. The Roman influence on Barcelona was far-reaching, not only in terms of military strength and urban planning, but also in the city's economic prosperity. Under Roman rule, Barcino thrived as a trading post, dealing in olive oil, wine, fish, and other goods that passed through the city on their way to Rome and the rest of the empire. Trade and commerce were the backbone of Barcelona's economy, and the city became a melting pot of Roman culture, local traditions, and foreign influences. Roman temples, baths, and theaters were built, making the city a vibrant center of Roman civilization in the farthest reaches of the empire. Many of these structures would later be repurposed or lost to time, but their legacy continued to shape the city. By the early 3rd century CE, Barcelona had become an important Roman city. It was a place of cultural exchange, where Roman traditions intermingled with the Iberian, Celtic, and Phoenician customs of the locals. The Roman pantheon of gods, the grandeur of Roman baths, and the sophistication of Roman architecture all had a lasting influence on the cultural development of Barcelona. Yet, as powerful as the Roman Empire was, it was not invincible. By the end of the 3rd century, Barcelona faced a growing threat from invading Germanic tribes, such as the Visigoths, who swept across the Roman Empire during its decline. These invasions, combined with internal pressures and external conflicts, would eventually lead to the fall of the Roman Empire. Following the decline of Rome in the 5th century, Barcelona found itself under the control of the Visigoths, a Germanic tribe that had established itself as the new power in Hispania. The Visigothic period marked a shift in the city's history. Barcelona, now renamed Barcelona, became an important Christian center, as the Visigoths had converted to Christianity, bringing with them the spread of the Christian faith throughout their territories. Under Visigothic rule, the city of Barcelona saw a transition from Roman traditions to a more early medieval structure. Churches and monasteries began to dot the landscape, and Christianity took root as the dominant religion in the city. This shift in religious and cultural identity would set the stage for Barcelona's transformation into a powerful medieval city in the centuries to come. The Visigothic influence on Barcelona, while significant, was short-lived. By the early 8th century, the city fell under the control of the Moors, marking the beginning of a new chapter in the city's history, a period that would bring both conflict and cultural exchange. The Moors left a deep imprint on the city, one that can still be felt in the architecture and urban layout of the Gothic quarter. After the Muslim invasion in the early 8th century, Barcelona found itself under Muslim rule for nearly 200 years, during which the city underwent a significant transformation. However, with the Christian Reconquista in full force, the city would eventually be recaptured in 801 CE by Charlemagne's Frankish forces. This marked the beginning of a new era for Barcelona, one that would see the rise of its medieval Christian identity. The Frankish Empire laid the groundwork for the city's development as a Christian kingdom, and Barcelona's cathedral, along with its churches, would become key symbols of the city's religious and cultural renaissance. With the city now firmly in Christian hands, Barcelona began its slow but steady rise to prominence, setting the stage for the Gothic quarter's development. It would be the Catalan counts and later, the Kingdom of Aragon that would elevate Barcelona from a fortified settlement to a key player in the politics, trade, and culture of medieval Spain. As we continue our journey through the history of Barcelona, we now find ourselves entering the medieval period, where the city begins to evolve from a Roman outpost and Visigothic center to a medieval power that will shape the future of the Catalan region and even Spain itself. By the 9th century, Barcelona was a fortified city, its walls now more symbolic than defensive, as the city began to move away from its early roots as a Roman military settlement and into something much grander. It was no longer just a strategic location in the Mediterranean but a key commercial, political, and cultural center that would rival the greatest cities of the Middle Ages. The transformation of Barcelona during the medieval era is a story of conquest, survival, and growth. It is a city that witnessed the rise of Christianity, the reconquest of Iberia, and the construction of its most iconic medieval monuments, particularly the Gothic quarter. In the early medieval period, Barcelona was under Carolingian rule, as part of the Frankish Empire. The city's fortifications were strengthened, but more importantly, it became a strategic base for Charlemagne's forces in their campaign against the Muslim presence in the Iberian Peninsula. In 801 CE, Charlemagne's son Louis the Pious captured Barcelona from the Moors. This marked the start of a new era, where the city became an important stronghold within the Frankish Empire. Charlemagne's influence over the region brought not only military control but also a cultural and administrative transformation. Barcelona was now part of the Hispanic Marches, a buffer zone between the Frankish realm and the Muslim territories to the south. This period saw a gradual shift in the city's political landscape. Barcelona became a duchy within the kingdom of the Franks, ruled by a count who answered to the Frankish king. The Carolingian Empire may have crumbled, but its impact remained. The Catalan counts, initially appointed by the Frankish rulers, would soon rise to prominence as rulers of an independent Catalan region, setting the stage for Barcelona's rise as a center of power in northern Spain. By the 10th century, the counts of Barcelona had gained considerable autonomy from the Frankish king and were steadily expanding their influence across the Iberian Peninsula. One of the key figures during this period was Borrell II, who ruled from 945 to 993. In 987, Borrell famously broke ties with the French crown, declaring Barcelona a sovereign entity. This marked the beginning of Barcelona's rise as an independent Catalan power. Barcelona's growth as a political and economic center was also driven by its strategic location on the Mediterranean coast. The city became a crucial hub for trade, linking Europe to the wider world of the Islamic world, North Africa, and the Middle East. The region became increasingly wealthy, and the wealth of its merchant class began to fund grand projects, including the construction of churches, palaces, and the beginning of the Gothic Quarter as we know it today. As the county of Barcelona expanded its influence, so did its urban landscape. The Gothic Quarter, the heart of medieval Barcelona, began to take shape in this period. The earliest remnants of the Gothic Quarter can be traced back to the 9th century, but it wasn't until the 12th and 13th centuries that it truly began to develop into the district we recognize today. One of the first significant steps in the development of the Gothic Quarter was the construction of the Barcelona Cathedral, which began in 1298 under the patronage of John II, the King of Aragon. The Gothic architecture of the cathedral, with its soaring spires and intricate design, became a symbol of Barcelona's rise as a medieval power and its increasing importance within the Christian world. The cathedral would remain a key focal point in the Gothic Quarter, drawing pilgrims, merchants, and nobles from across Europe. As Barcelona flourished, the Gothic Quarter began to expand, and new buildings, churches, and palaces were constructed. The construction of the city walls in the 14th century provided a sense of security for the growing population. These walls were more than just protective barriers. They marked the boundaries of the city's medieval identity and were crucial to defining the Gothic Quarter as the epicenter of the city's social, political, and religious life. As Barcelona entered the 13th and 14th centuries, the city became a focal point for both political power and commercial activity. During the reign of James I of Aragon, Barcelona became the capital of the Kingdom of Aragon, marking the city's golden age as a center of trade, culture, and politics. Under James I, known as James the Conqueror, Barcelona grew into a major Mediterranean port, trading goods like wool, wine, and olive oil with other cities in the Mediterranean and beyond. The city became a crossroads for Christian and Muslim traders, exchanging goods, knowledge, and cultures. Barcelona's role as a trading hub led to the development of a growing merchant class, who invested in both land and commerce. The city's wealth allowed the nobility to commission large-scale Gothic buildings, many of which still stand today, such as the Palau Real Major, the Royal Palace of Barcelona's medieval kings, and the Church of Santa Maria del Mar, a prime example of Catalan Gothic architecture. By the end of the 14th century, Barcelona was not only a major political capital in the Kingdom of Aragon, but also one of the leading commercial centers in the Mediterranean. However, the 15th century brought difficult times for Barcelona. The city's fortunes began to change with the Black Death of 1348, which ravaged the city and decimated its population. The plague was a harbinger of the economic decline that would follow. The rising tensions between the merchants, nobility, and the crown only added to the city's internal struggles. Wars, both external and internal, further weakened the city's grip on its former glory. The War of the Spanish Succession in the early 18th century and the subsequent fall of Barcelona to Bourbon forces in 1714 marked the end of Barcelona's golden age. The city's political power waned, and the Gothic Quarter, while still significant, began to lose much of its former influence. As we turn the pages of history into the Renaissance and Baroque periods, we step into an era of profound transformation for Barcelona, a city that had already seen much, yet was on the cusp of an entirely new cultural and architectural rebirth. The Gothic quarter, which had been the heart of the city since the medieval era, would continue to evolve, influenced by the artistic, cultural, and political movements of the time. In this segment, we'll examine how the city's identity shifted as the forces of the Renaissance and Baroque reshaped its structures, its streets, and its very soul. The Renaissance was a time of reawakening, a rediscovery of classical ideals, art, science, and humanism. While much of Europe was undergoing profound changes during this period, Catalonia, and Barcelona in particular, remained fiercely tied to its medieval heritage, even as it absorbed the influences of Italian Renaissance artists and the growing cultural movement sweeping across the continent. Barcelona's Renaissance period began in the late 15th century and continued into the 16th century, a time when the Habsburg dynasty ruled over Spain and its territories. The city's political situation was shaped by its integration into the Spanish monarchy, as Barcelona, once an independent Catalan realm, found itself subject to the centralized power of Madrid. Yet, even as political power shifted, Barcelona's economic and cultural influence continued to grow. The city became a center for trade, its port linking Spain to the rest of Europe, Africa, and the Americas. Barcelona's merchant class was thriving, and wealth from the colonies began to flood into the city, leading to architectural and artistic commissions that would shape the city's future. One of the most significant influences of the Renaissance on Barcelona was the arrival of Renaissance architecture. While Gothic structures still dominated the cityscape, the new Italian Renaissance ideals began to seep into the urban design. The Gothic quarter, with its medieval buildings and narrow, winding streets, became a canvas for architectural innovation, as Renaissance-style palaces, churches, and public buildings began to spring up. The Palau de la Generalitat, the seat of the Catalan government, is one of the most prominent examples of Renaissance architecture in Barcelona. Built in the 15th century, it blends Gothic and Renaissance elements, symbolizing the fusion of the city's medieval past with its Renaissance present. Another key example is the Santa Maria del Mar, a Gothic church with Renaissance features that would influence the design of future religious buildings in the city. These structures represent the Renaissance ideals of symmetry, proportions, and clarity, in stark contrast to the Gothic focus on verticality and complexity. By the early 19th century, Barcelona found itself at the center of a cultural revival known as the Renaixenca. A movement that sought to reclaim Catalonia's cultural identity and language. During this time, the Gothic quarter played a crucial role in the city's Renaissance. The district became not only a symbol of Barcelona's medieval past but also a center for literary and artistic expression that sought to reassert Catalan pride. The Renaixenca revived interest in medieval themes, and many of Barcelona's most important Gothic buildings were restored, including the Cathedral of Barcelona, which became a symbol of both the city's medieval heritage and its evolving identity. At the same time, the Gothic quarter itself began to serve as a symbol of the city's resilience, a district that had survived wars, plagues, and political upheavals, and yet continued to thrive at the heart of Barcelona's modern transformation. The Baroque era in Barcelona came in the late 17th century and into the 18th century, a period when the city, under the influence of the Bourbon monarchy, began to undergo significant transformation. The Baroque period was characterized by grandiosity, ornamentation, and the celebration of power and faith. Under the Bourbon dynasty, especially during the reign of Philip V, Barcelona faced not only political challenges but also profound social and cultural changes. Baroque art and architecture flourished during this time, as the city became increasingly tied to the centralized power of Madrid. The Baroque style brought with it sweeping changes to the Gothic quarter, as more ornate buildings began to appear. Baroque palaces and churches, such as the Church of Saint Philip Neri, were built to showcase the wealth and power of the Bourbon monarchy. These buildings, with their lavish facades, intricate stuccos, and dramatic interiors, were a sharp departure from the Gothic simplicity of earlier structures in the Gothic quarter. At the same time, the Baroque period saw the expansion of the city beyond the Gothic quarter, with new districts built to accommodate the growing population. The construction of wide boulevards and public squares replaced the narrow, winding streets that defined the medieval heart of Barcelona. The city was evolving, becoming more modern, yet its medieval core, the Gothic Quarter, remained a central and evocative part of the city's cultural landscape. By the 18th century, the Gothic Quarter had become more than just a place of medieval significance, it was a living museum, where the old world and the new collided. While the city around it grew and modernized, the Gothic Quarter remained a historical treasure trove, its medieval streets, hidden courtyards, and ancient buildings evoking memories of a bygone era. The influence of both the Renaissance and Baroque periods can still be seen today in the Gothic Quarter's architecture. Renaissance palaces stand side by side with Baroque churches, while Gothic buildings, once the heart of the city, continue to define the charm and character of the district. The evolution of the Gothic Quarter during these centuries marks the transition from medieval Barcelona to a more modern city, one that was both firmly rooted in its past and on the cusp of new beginnings. By the time the Baroque period came to a close, Barcelona was no longer simply a fortified medieval town but a thriving cultural, political, and commercial center in the heart of the Mediterranean. The Gothic Quarter, the heart of medieval Barcelona, had witnessed the city's rise, from a Roman military post to a powerful medieval kingdom, and had now evolved into a key symbol of Barcelona's growing influence in the Renaissance and Baroque eras. As we close this chapter in the city's story, we see that the Gothic Quarter, though transformed over the centuries, continues to be the pulse of Barcelona, a place where history, culture, and modernity coexist. From the grandeur of its Renaissance architecture to the excesses of its Baroque transformations, the Gothic Quarter remains one of the most significant and evocative parts of the city's heritage. As we continue our journey through the history of Barcelona, we now find ourselves entering the 19th century, a period of profound transformation. The city, once defined by its Gothic architecture and medieval streets, was now beginning to change in ways that would forever alter its identity. The arrival of the Industrial Revolution marked the beginning of a new era, one that would see Barcelona not only modernize but become a global metropolis in the heart of the Mediterranean. Barcelona, like many European cities, was thrust into the age of industrialization in the mid-19th century. The once thriving Gothic Quarter, which had witnessed the rise of the city from Roman times to the late medieval period, would face both the forces of urbanization and modernity. But as the city grew, so did its historical charm, blending the old with the new in ways that continue to captivate the world. This segment will explore how Barcelona evolved during the 19th century, a time when it began its ascent as one of the most important cities in Europe, both politically and economically. From industrial growth to the creation of iconic landmarks, we'll uncover how the Gothic Quarter and Barcelona as a whole adapted to the rapid changes sweeping through Europe. The Industrial Revolution changed the course of history for many European cities, and Barcelona was no exception. In the early 19th century, the city was primarily a commercial port and a center for textile manufacturing, yet the development of modern industry would redefine its future. At the heart of Barcelona's industrial boom was the development of railroads and factories. The first railway line in Catalonia, which connected Barcelona to Mataró in 1848, marked the city's entrance into the modern industrial age. The introduction of steam power and the construction of factories powered by new technologies transformed the city's economy, bringing with it a wave of immigrants from the surrounding countryside seeking work in the burgeoning textile and manufacturing sectors. The rapid industrialization of Barcelona had a profound impact on its social and political fabric. As factories sprouted up in and around the Gothic Quarter, the working class grew in size, and tensions between the newly formed bourgeoisie and working classes increased. Class divisions deepened, and the city saw the rise of labor movements, which would eventually contribute to the political unrest that would define Barcelona's role in the wider Spanish political landscape. Barcelona's old medieval walls were no longer sufficient to contain the growing city. In the 1860s, the decision was made to demolish much of the old fortifications, opening up space for new neighborhoods and industrial developments. Cerda's Example plan, created by Ildefons Cerda, transformed Barcelona into a city of wide boulevards and modern infrastructure, creating a distinct contrast to the narrow streets of the Gothic Quarter. This ambitious urban plan was a response to the overcrowded, unsanitary conditions that had developed within the city's historic core. As industrialization progressed, Barcelona's aristocratic and commercial classes began to invest heavily in the expansion of the city. The most ambitious of these projects was the Eixample, a district designed by Ildefons Cerdà to alleviate the overcrowding in the city's medieval core. Cerdà's vision was revolutionary. He sought to create a city that was not just functional but also healthy and livable. The Eixample was designed with wide grid streets, spacious squares, and green spaces that allowed air to circulate freely. The district's design promoted light, ventilation, and public health, and it was unlike anything the city had ever seen. The grid pattern was intended to allow for easy access and mobility, while also accommodating the rapid growth of industry and commerce. However, the development of the Eixample also had consequences for the Gothic quarter. While the medieval center of Barcelona became a symbol of history and heritage, it was increasingly seen as a space of the past, while the modern city began to take shape in the Eixample. The Gothic quarter, with its narrow alleys and ancient buildings, became an area of contrast, a historical relic amid the growing industrial dynamism of modern Barcelona. With the Industrial Revolution came a new wave of artistic and architectural expression, and nowhere was this more evident than in Barcelona. The city became a playground for the emerging modernist movement, which sought to blend art, architecture, and design into a unified, avant-garde vision. One of the most famous figures associated with Barcelona's modernist movement was Antoni Gaudí, whose work would forever change the face of the city. Gaudí's masterpiece, the Sagrada Familia, began its construction in 1882 and remains one of the most recognizable architectural landmarks in the world. The church, which combines Gothic and Art Nouveau styles, was intended to represent the evolution of architecture and to reflect the spiritual aspirations of the Catalan people. Gaudí's work was not just about creating beautiful buildings, but about transforming the very essence of architecture, using natural forms, geometry, and color to infuse life into his creations. Alongside the Sagrada Familia, Gaudí's Casa Batlló and Casa Mila, La Pedrera, stand as symbols of Barcelona's artistic renaissance. These buildings, with their curvaceous lines, organic forms, and innovative designs, reflect Barcelona's transformation into a modern metropolis, one that was fully engaged with the new artistic movements of the time. The influence of modernism, as the Catalan Art Nouveau movement came to be known, spread across the city, with many architects and designers contributing to the architectural landscape. Yet, even as the city became home to cutting-edge designs, the Gothic quarter continued to serve as the historical and cultural heart of Barcelona, its medieval structure standing in stark contrast to the innovative and dynamic designs of the modern era. As Barcelona entered the 20th century, it increasingly became a key player in international trade and commerce. The city's status as a Mediterranean port continued to thrive, and its expositions and world fairs showcased the city's growing cultural influence. One of the most notable events was the Exposition Internacional de Barcelona in 1888, which brought artists, architects, and thinkers from across the globe to the city. The Montjuic Hill area, where the exhibition was held, became the site of several key cultural landmarks, including the Palau Nacional and the Museu Nacional d'Art de Catalunya. Barcelona's economic expansion continued into the early 20th century, as it became a key center for textile production, manufacturing, and shipping. The city's connection to the global economy allowed it to become an important hub for industrial activity in Spain and Europe. Yet, with this growth came a growing social divide. While the upper classes enjoyed the prosperity of the industrial boom, the working classes faced difficult conditions. Tensions between the bourgeoisie and the working class began to rise, leading to strikes, protests, and political unrest throughout the city. This period would lay the groundwork for the Catalan working class movements, which would become key players in the Spanish Civil War. By the end of the 19th century, Barcelona had undergone a profound transformation. From a medieval city defined by its Gothic quarter, it had become a global city of commerce, industry, and culture. The Industrial Revolution, urban planning innovations, and the influence of modernist architecture had reshaped the landscape, bringing new opportunities, but also new challenges. Yet, through all the changes, the Gothic quarter remained a symbol of the city's history, its ancient streets and buildings serving as a reminder of Barcelona's rich past even as the city embraced its future. The dawn of the 20th century marked a time of tremendous change and political tension for Barcelona. The city, which had once been defined by the grandeur of Gothic architecture and the modernism of Antoni Gaudí, now found itself in the throes of social upheaval, political unrest, and a renewed push for Catalan independence. As the world hurtled toward global conflict and modernization, Barcelona began to reshape its identity once again. In this segment, we will explore how Barcelona's transformation into a modern metropolis was accompanied by rising tensions between the working class and the bourgeoisie, the surge of Catalan nationalism, and the flourishing of a cultural renaissance that would forever change the city's character. The streets of Barcelona were not just spaces of industry and commerce but also battlegrounds for political ideologies, labor rights, and the fight for Catalan self-determination. The early 20th century was a period of cultural rebirth for Catalonia, and Barcelona was at the heart of this Renaixenca, the Catalan Renaissance. In the 19th century, the region had experienced a revival of its cultural identity, particularly through the promotion of the Catalan language, literature, and art. This movement reached its peak in the early 1900s, as intellectuals, artists, and writers in Barcelona sought to reclaim and promote Catalonia's unique cultural heritage. Catalonia had long been a distinct entity within Spain, with its own language, traditions, and political institutions. Under the Bourbon monarchy, however, the Catalan language and culture had been suppressed, leading to tensions between the Catalan people and the central Spanish government. The Renaixenca was not just an artistic movement, it was a political and cultural response to this oppression, a push for autonomy and recognition. Barcelona became the birthplace of the movement, with artists like modernist painter Ramon Casas and poets like Jacint Verdaguer at the forefront of the Catalan cultural revival. These artists celebrated the city's medieval past, Catalan folklore, and the identity of the Catalan people. The Museu d'Art de Catalunya, Museum of Catalan Art, became a central institution for this new cultural identity, showcasing the history and evolution of Catalonia's artistic heritage. But the cultural revival was just one part of the story. Catalonia's cultural reawakening was intricately tied to the region's desire for political autonomy and recognition within Spain. The rise of Catalan nationalism and the push for self-rule would become central issues throughout the early 20th century, deeply influencing the course of the city's political and social struggles. By the early 1900s, Barcelona found itself caught in a growing wave of political unrest that would characterize much of its 20th century history. The Industrial Revolution had brought new wealth to the city, but it had also deepened the divide between the working class and the bourgeoisie. In the streets of Barcelona, the struggles of the laboring poor, many of whom worked in the city's textile mills, factories, and shipyards, were met with the growing wealth and power of an aristocratic elite. Tensions boiled over in 1909 with the Tragic Week, Setmana Tragica, a violent workers' uprising that was sparked by the conscription of Catalan workers into the Spanish army to fight in the Moroccan War. For many in Barcelona, this was the breaking point, an indication of the deep social fractures within the city. The working class took to the streets, protesting against the government's oppression, the bourgeoisie's exploitation, and the nationalist sentiment that sought to reclaim Catalonia's autonomy from Madrid. While the Tragic Week was eventually suppressed, it marked a significant turning point in Catalan politics. The Catalan nationalist movement gained momentum, and the Mancomunitat de Catalunya, a coalition of Catalan municipalities, was established in 1914 to represent the interests of Catalonia within the larger framework of the Spanish state. This was a critical step toward gaining more self-governance for the region, though true autonomy remained elusive. Alongside the rise of Catalan nationalism, Barcelona became a hotbed of anarchist activity. Anarchism had a long history in the city, and during the early 20th century, it became a powerful force in the labor movement. The growth of the anarchist movement was fueled by the working class's frustration with both the capitalist system and the Spanish government. Barcelona was home to a large, organized network of anarchist unions that fought for better wages, working conditions, and the right to strike. Anarchist movements in Barcelona were known for their radicalism and commitment to direct action. Bombings, strikes, and violent protests became commonplace, especially in the wake of the tragic week. The Spanish government responded with crackdowns, further escalating tensions between the state and the working class. The most significant labor movement of the time was the Confederación Nacional del Trabajo, CNT, which became one of the most powerful anarchist unions in Europe. Barcelona was its base, and the CNT's influence spread rapidly throughout Spain. The city became a stronghold for anarchism, with the working class pushing for a more equitable and self-managed society. Despite the political and social struggles, Barcelona was also experiencing a cultural renaissance during the early 20th century. The city became a center of intellectual and artistic activity, with writers, artists, and musicians flocking to Barcelona to participate in its burgeoning cultural scene. The influence of modernism, already seen in the works of Gaudí, continued to thrive during this period. Artists like Pablo Picasso, who spent his early years in Barcelona, helped shape the city's artistic reputation. Picasso's Cubist works, which would later revolutionize the world of art, found their early expression in the cafes, galleries, and salons of Barcelona. Picasso's time in Barcelona was formative for his artistic development, and the city remains forever linked with his early masterpieces. At the same time, Barcelona's music scene flourished, with the construction of the Palau de la Música Catalana in 1908. Designed by Luis Domènech i Montaner, the Palau is an architectural marvel and a symbol of Barcelona's cultural golden age. The concert hall became the home of Catalan musical life, hosting performances by the world's leading musicians and composers. As the city's cultural scene thrived, Catalan literature also experienced a revival, with authors such as Josep Carner and Victor Catala contributing to the Renaixenca. Their works, written in the Catalan language, spoke to the region's quest for identity and self-expression in the face of external political pressures. As Barcelona entered the 1930s, the city's political unrest reached new heights. The Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, would have a profound impact on the city, one that would forever change its political and cultural landscape. The rise of Francisco Franco's fascist regime and the Republican resistance divided Spain and led to brutal conflicts, particularly in Barcelona, where the anarchist and socialist factions fought for control. Barcelona's role in the Spanish Civil War is an important chapter in its history. The city was a major stronghold for the Republican forces, and the streets of the Gothic Quarter once again became the site of fierce battles. The Spanish Civil War led to the eventual defeat of the Republican forces, and Barcelona fell under the dictatorship of Francisco Franco. As we conclude this segment, Barcelona finds itself at a crossroads in its history. The early 20th century was a period of immense social change, political conflict, and cultural flourishing. The city's identity as a center for Catalan nationalism, anarchism, and modernist art was intertwined with the political upheaval that defined the era. Barcelona was not just a city of industrial power and cultural innovation, it was also a city on the brink of civil war, where political ideologies clashed and the dream of Catalan autonomy was tested like never before. Yet through all its struggles, the city's spirit and resilience would define its future. As the 20th century unfolded, Barcelona found itself once again at the heart of Spain's political turmoil. The Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, would become a pivotal chapter in the city's history, one that would leave deep scars but also shape its future in profound ways. It was a conflict that pitted the forces of the Republican government, supported by anarchists, socialists, and communists, against General Franco's nationalist forces, backed by fascist ideology. This war would not only alter Spain's political landscape but would forever change the identity of Barcelona. In this segment, we will explore how Barcelona's working-class communities, with their strong anarchist and socialist leanings, became central to the Republican resistance. We'll examine the devastating impact of the war on the city, how Franco's regime shaped its future, and how, despite the dictatorship, Barcelona underwent a transformation that would see it return to cultural prominence in the latter half of the century. The Spanish Civil War began in July 1936, when a faction of the Spanish military led by General Francisco Franco rose in rebellion against the Republican government. The Republicans were a broad coalition, comprising various left-wing factions, including anarchists, communists, and socialists. Barcelona, a city with a long history of anarchist activism and socialist influence, became the heart of the Republican resistance. Barcelona was not just a place of resistance, it was the symbol of the fight for freedom and self-determination. The city had long been the center of Catalan nationalism, and its people had fought for their rights against the centralizing forces of the Spanish monarchy. In the face of Franco's military coup, Barcelona's labor unions, working-class organizations, and anarchist militias rose up to defend their city. This conflict, known as the Battle for Barcelona, was intense and marked by fierce street fighting. As the war progressed, Barcelona became increasingly involved in the ideological struggle between anarchism and state socialism. One of the most significant developments was the anarchist revolution in Catalonia, where workers and peasants took control of factories, farms, and entire neighborhoods. The city's public transport, industries, and even its collective farms were all taken over by the people, who sought to create a society based on direct democracy, self-management, and cooperation. As Barcelona held strong in its resistance, the war took its toll. The city, despite its determination, was not invulnerable to the horrors of modern warfare. In 1937, Franco's nationalist forces began bombarding Barcelona, with air raids from Italian and German bombers, who were supporting Franco's cause. Barcelona became a target for aerial bombardment, especially during March 1938, when the city suffered one of the worst bombing campaigns of the war. The bombing of Barcelona led to the destruction of homes, factories, and public buildings, causing the deaths of thousands of civilians. The Gothic Quarter, which had long been a symbol of the city's medieval heritage, suffered significant damage. The cathedrals and churches that once represented the city's Catholic identity were hit, and the once beautiful narrow streets became rubble-strewn ruins. Barcelona's architecture, from the medieval old town to the modernist buildings, faced damage that would take decades to repair. In January 1939, after nearly 3 years of brutal fighting, Barcelona fell to Franco's nationalist forces. The city's fall was a decisive blow to the Republican resistance, and it marked the beginning of a new era of repression under the Francoist dictatorship. Under Franco's regime, Catalan culture, including the Catalan language, was suppressed. Political repression was widespread, with thousands of Republicans, anarchists, and anyone associated with the left-wing movement sent to concentration camps or executed. Catalan symbols were banned, and the Catalan language was forbidden in schools, media, and public life. The fall of Barcelona was a turning point for the Gothic Quarter. The once vibrant district, filled with labor activists, intellectuals, and artists, now stood silent under the heavy hand of Franco's government. The Republican murals on the walls of buildings, which had once been symbols of the fight for freedom, were erased or covered up. Following the victory of Franco's forces, Barcelona's post-war years were marked by repression and silence. Under Franco's control, Spain became a fascist dictatorship, and Catalonia was relegated to a second-class status within the Spanish state. Barcelona, once a symbol of resistance, now became a city of submission, its streets patrolled by military police and political spies. Cultural repression was rampant during this period. Catalan culture was viewed with suspicion, and any signs of Catalan nationalism were brutally suppressed. The Catalan language was forbidden in official discourse, and publications in Catalan were banned. The once vibrant cultural scene of Barcelona was stifled, as artists, writers, and musicians either fled the country or were silenced. However, even under Franco's authoritarian rule, Barcelona's spirit remained unbroken. Despite the severe restrictions on freedom, a subculture of resistance began to develop in the city, one that would eventually lead to the end of Franco's dictatorship in the 1970s. The post-Civil War years were difficult for Barcelona. The city was economically crippled, its industries and infrastructure damaged, and its population traumatized by years of war and oppression. Yet, despite the grim circumstances, the city began to recover. The 1950s and 1960s saw the beginning of economic growth in Barcelona, driven largely by the industrial boom that was happening across Spain. The city's manufacturing sector, especially in textiles and consumer goods, grew rapidly during this time. Barcelona's recovery also brought about an architectural transformation. The old, war-torn neighborhoods were rebuilt, and new buildings began to rise, although the changes were often in stark contrast to the Gothic quarter's ancient structures. The growth of tourism during the 1960s also brought new life to the city, as Barcelona became a hub for visitors looking to experience its art, culture, and Mediterranean charm. Yet even as the city modernized, the Gothic quarter remained a place where Barcelona's history was preserved. Restorations of the district's historic buildings began, albeit at a slower pace, as the city sought to balance its past with its emerging modern identity. As Franco's regime came to an end in the mid-1970s, Barcelona began its cultural renaissance. The transition to democracy in 1978 opened up new opportunities for Catalan expression, and the city began to embrace its cultural roots once again. In the 1980s and 1990s, Barcelona experienced a cultural revival like no other. The city's famous modernist architecture, including the work of Gaudí, was recognized as UNESCO World Heritage, and Catalan artists and intellectuals were able to express themselves freely for the first time in decades. This revival culminated in 1992, when Barcelona hosted the Olympic Games, a global event that transformed the city into a major international hub. As the city's economy and culture flourished, the Gothic quarter became a focal point of tourism and cultural heritage. The medieval streets, historic buildings, and hidden gems of the district were celebrated and restored, and Barcelona's identity as a modern European city with deep historical roots began to emerge on the global stage. The journey of Barcelona through the Spanish Civil War, Franco's dictatorship, and its post-war recovery is a story of resilience, transformation, and cultural rebirth. The city, despite the harsh realities of war and political oppression, emerged stronger and more vibrant than ever before. The Gothic quarter, which had witnessed so much history, continued to be the beating heart of Barcelona, embodying the city's struggle and triumphs over the centuries. As Catalonia found its voice once again, Barcelona became a symbol of freedom, identity, and cultural expression. Barcelona, once a city defined by its medieval roots, political struggles, and cultural repression, was on the cusp of a remarkable transformation. The 1990s would usher in a new era, one where Barcelona would emerge as a global metropolis, setting a standard for urban renewal, cultural vitality, and economic development. The 1992 Olympic Games were the catalyst for this radical change, but the story of Barcelona's resurgence is much more than just the Olympics. It is about how the city harnessed its rich history, artistic heritage, and modern infrastructure to become a symbol of urban success. In this segment, we'll explore how the 1992 Olympics became the spark that ignited Barcelona's explosive growth, and how the city's commitment to innovation, sustainability, and global connectivity reshaped its future. The idea of Barcelona hosting the 1992 Summer Olympics was initially met with skepticism. The city, though beautiful and culturally rich, was considered by many to be a city in decline, still reeling from the aftermath of Franco's dictatorship and struggling with the challenges of post-industrial urban decay. Yet, in the 1970s and 1980s, as Spain transitioned to democracy, Barcelona saw an opportunity for a rebirth, an opportunity to reassert itself on the global stage. In 1980, the city of Barcelona formally bid for the 1992 Summer Olympics, led by then-Mayor Pasqual Maragall. At the time, the city faced numerous obstacles, including unemployment, high poverty rates, and a lack of modern infrastructure. However, the bid for the Olympics was seen as a bold step toward urban revitalization and economic growth. The International Olympic Committee, recognizing the city's potential, awarded Barcelona the Games in 1986. The awarding of the 1992 Olympics to Barcelona set in motion a series of urban planning and infrastructure development projects that would radically transform the city. In the years leading up to the Games, Barcelona underwent one of the most ambitious urban renewal projects in European history. The goal was not just to build the Olympic venues, but to completely overhaul the city's infrastructure, making it more modern, accessible, and appealing to both residents and visitors. One of the most significant elements of this transformation was the redevelopment of the waterfront. Before the Olympics, Barcelona's Mediterranean coastline had been neglected, dominated by industrial wastelands and underutilized docks. As part of the Olympic preparations, the city embarked on a massive beachfront regeneration project. The creation of the new Olympic Village, along with the expansion of public beaches, turned Barcelona's once industrial coastline into a world-class destination. The Olympic Village itself, which housed the athletes, became one of the defining features of the city's post-Olympic landscape. Located near the beach in the Poblana neighborhood, the village was designed not only as a temporary home for athletes but also as a long-term residential area for Barcelona's growing population. The area was transformed with new housing, green spaces, and public amenities that would benefit the community long after the Olympics were over. But the urban transformation did not stop at the Olympic Village. The city invested heavily in new transport infrastructure, including the Barcelona metro expansion, which made the city's public transport system more efficient and accessible. A new airport terminal was also constructed to accommodate the influx of international visitors for the Games, further enhancing Barcelona's connectivity to the world. Perhaps one of the most striking elements of the transformation was the construction of new cultural and sporting venues. The Olympic Stadium at Montjuic Hill, built for the opening and closing ceremonies, became a symbol of the city's modern identity. It was surrounded by sports arenas, swimming pools, and venues for other Olympic events, many of which were repurposed for use by the public after the Games. In the years following the 1992 Olympics, Barcelona experienced an unprecedented surge in tourism. The Olympics had put the city on the world map, and tourists flocked to see the stunning modernist architecture, the beautiful beaches, and the thriving cultural scene. The city became a global destination, attracting millions of visitors every year. The Barcelona Olympic legacy wasn't just about new buildings, it was about a shift in the city's global identity. The Olympics provided an opportunity for Barcelona to rebrand itself as a modern, dynamic, and culturally vibrant city. It became a place where history and modernity met, where art, architecture, and innovation coexisted. As a result, the tourism sector boomed. Barcelona saw a dramatic increase in international visitors, drawn by the city's newfound reputation as a top-tier European destination. This tourism boom also contributed to the city's economic revitalization, bringing new jobs, investments, and opportunities to the people of Barcelona. The 1992 Olympics marked the beginning of a cultural renaissance for Barcelona. In the years leading up to the Games, the city saw a revival of its artistic heritage and a new commitment to cultural innovation. The city's long-standing love for architecture was reinvigorated, with new developments blending modern design with Catalan tradition. One of the most iconic features of Barcelona's transformation was the continued work of Antoni Gaudí. While Gaudí's work, especially his Sagrada Familia, had been recognized globally, it was the 1992 Olympics that brought even greater attention to his masterpieces. The Sagrada Familia, still under construction at the time of the Games, became a symbol of Barcelona's artistic ambition and innovation. By the end of the 20th century, the Sagrada Familia had become one of the most visited landmarks in the world. In addition to Gaudí's influence, the city became home to a growing number of art galleries, museums, and cultural institutions that celebrated both Barcelona's historical roots and its forward-thinking, modernist spirit. The Museu Picasso, the Museu d'Art Contemporani, and the Fundació Joan Miró all contributed to the city's status as a global center for the arts. The 1992 Olympics marked a turning point not only for Barcelona's cultural landscape but also for its economic trajectory. In the years following the Games, the city's economy boomed, driven by the growth of tourism, real estate, and international business. Barcelona became a magnet for global investment, and its position on the Mediterranean coast made it a key hub for trade, commerce, and technology. The transformation of Barcelona's port area into a modern maritime hub played a crucial role in this economic growth. The city's international trade expanded, and the port of Barcelona became one of the busiest in Europe. The economic expansion also resulted in the development of the Barcelona Technological Park, which attracted companies and startups in the fields of information technology, biotechnology, and innovation. As Barcelona grew into a global economic center, its financial district flourished. The city's real estate market boomed, with new residential and commercial buildings rising across the city, including the striking Agbar Tower and the sprawling Diagonal Mar business district. This growth allowed Barcelona to position itself as a global player in the world's economic arena. The 1992 Olympics were more than just an international sporting event, they were a catalyst for the revolutionary transformation of Barcelona into one of the world's most dynamic and exciting cities. From the revitalization of its waterfront to the development of modern infrastructure, the Olympics set the stage for economic growth, cultural resurgence, and a new global identity for the city. Barcelona's transformation is a testament to the power of urban renewal, sustainable planning, and the vision of a city that embraces both its rich history and its future. Today, Barcelona stands as a global metropolis, one that continues to inspire cities around the world with its innovation, resilience, and dedication to preserving its unique cultural heritage. As we enter the 21st century, Barcelona stands at the crossroads of tradition and innovation. Having transformed itself from a city shaped by medieval roots to a modern global metropolis, it now faces new challenges and opportunities. Over the last few decades, Barcelona has established itself not only as a cultural capital of Europe but as a key player in global economics, technology, and sustainability. This segment explores how Barcelona has evolved into a city that continues to maintain its cultural identity, while embracing economic growth, technological advancement, and global influence. With its emphasis on innovation, sustainability, and cultural richness, Barcelona is one of the leading examples of how a city can thrive in the globalized 21st century. In the early 2000s, Barcelona experienced what many have called a cultural renaissance. The cultural institutions, museums, and art galleries that were revived and expanded during the 1992 Olympics continued to flourish throughout the 21st century. But the city's cultural identity was not just a revival, it was a dynamic transformation, blending traditional Catalan influences with contemporary global trends. Modernist architecture, symbolized by Antoni Gaudi's Sagrada Familia, remains one of the city's defining features. The ongoing construction of Gaudi's masterpiece, which began in 1882, continues to draw millions of visitors each year, making it one of the most iconic landmarks in the world. As Barcelona's artistic scene continued to thrive, other notable institutions such as the Museu Picasso, the Museu d'Art Contemporani, and the Fundació Joan Miró cemented Barcelona's status as a cultural hub. However, the city did not stop at honoring its historical icons. As Barcelona entered the 21st century, it became home to new movements in art, design, and architecture. The urban art scene, with its graffiti-filled streets and modern installations, has brought new attention to Barcelona as an epicenter for contemporary culture. The development of the 21st century Barcelona is best captured by its innovative architecture. The city boasts a range of cutting-edge buildings, such as the Torre Agbar, designed by architect Jean Nouvel, and the Barcelona Pavilion, a reconstruction of Mies van der Rohe's classic modernist structure. Barcelona continues to celebrate both its traditional Catalan roots and its commitment to modern artistic expression. In the 21st century, Barcelona has rapidly become a hub for innovation, particularly in the technology sector. As cities around the world vie for leadership in technological advancement, Barcelona has positioned itself at the forefront of the digital revolution. The city's smart city initiatives have been a key aspect of this transformation. With an emphasis on sustainability, smart mobility, and data-driven urban planning, Barcelona has made significant strides in becoming one of the most connected cities in the world. From bike-sharing programs to smart street lighting, Barcelona is at the cutting edge of integrating technology into the fabric of urban life. Barcelona Tech City, located in the 22@ district, has become a thriving innovation hub, home to a wide range of startups in technology, biotech, and fintech. This district has transformed from an industrial wasteland to one of Europe's most exciting centers for entrepreneurship and innovation. It hosts major events like the Mobile World Congress, which attracts tech giants from around the globe, further solidifying Barcelona's place as a leader in the global tech industry. Barcelona's emphasis on research and development in fields like artificial intelligence and renewable energy is helping the city create a future-oriented economy. The collaboration between local universities, startups, and global tech companies is driving innovation and contributing to Barcelona's economic strength in the digital age. One of the most notable aspects of 21st century Barcelona has been its focus on sustainability and environmental consciousness. As global cities struggle with the challenges of climate change, urban sprawl, and resource management, Barcelona has positioned itself as a leader in sustainability. The city has committed to ambitious goals, including becoming a carbon-neutral city by 2050. Barcelona's environmental initiatives include the greening of urban spaces, the promotion of green energy, and the implementation of sustainable transportation systems. The city has expanded its public transportation networks, making them more efficient and environmentally friendly. Electric buses and bike lanes have become common features of the urban landscape, encouraging residents to adopt more sustainable modes of transport. The Barcelona Green Belt, a vast network of parks, forests, and natural reserves, is another key aspect of the city's green efforts. These green spaces not only provide recreational areas for residents but also contribute to biodiversity and the overall well-being of the city's population. The greenification of Barcelona is part of a broader movement to make cities more livable, sustainable, and climate resilient. Barcelona is also a leader in water conservation. The city has implemented advanced technologies to manage its water resources, from smart meters that monitor water usage to rainwater harvesting systems that help reduce demand on traditional water supplies. This commitment to sustainability has earned Barcelona international recognition as a smart city and an example of how urban planning can mitigate the effects of climate change. Barcelona has long been known as an economic center in southern Europe, but its global influence has significantly expanded in the 21st century. The city's strategic location on the Mediterranean coast, coupled with its growing prominence as a tourism destination and business hub, has made it one of Europe's most dynamic economies. The tourism sector remains a vital part of Barcelona's economic landscape. With millions of visitors annually, the city's historic sites, modernist architecture, beaches, and cultural festivals continue to draw tourists from all over the world. The city has adapted to the increasing number of visitors by embracing sustainable tourism practices and focusing on high-quality experiences that preserve the integrity of its cultural heritage. Barcelona's status as a global city has also been reinforced by its role as a financial and business center. The city is home to numerous international corporations, particularly in the fields of tech, finance, and design. Barcelona's global economic presence has grown thanks to its integration into the European Union's single market and its position as a major entry point to the Mediterranean. The city has also become an attractive destination for foreign investment, particularly in the areas of real estate, technology, and clean energy. Barcelona's commitment to creating an innovation-friendly environment has drawn companies and entrepreneurs from around the world, making it one of the leading startup cities in Europe. Barcelona's social landscape in the 21st century is one of diversity and inclusion, with the city attracting people from all corners of the globe. As a major international hub, Barcelona is home to a vibrant multicultural population, with residents from over 180 nationalities. This cultural diversity is reflected in the city's neighborhoods, restaurants, shops, and festivals, which draw on influences from across the world. At the same time, Catalan identity remains at the heart of Barcelona's social and political fabric. The city continues to be a focal point for Catalan nationalism, with ongoing debates about autonomy and the region's relationship with the Spanish state. While the political climate surrounding Catalan independence remains complex, Barcelona remains a proud symbol of Catalan culture, language, and history. The city is also at the forefront of social justice movements, with a strong focus on housing rights, gender equality, and immigrant rights. Barcelona's political landscape is shaped by progressive forces, and the city's commitment to creating a fair and just society remains a cornerstone of its identity. As we conclude this segment, Barcelona stands as a global metropolis that has embraced both its rich cultural heritage and its role as a leader in innovation and sustainability. From the resurgence of Catalan identity to its rise as a technology hub, Barcelona is a city that continues to evolve, balancing the demands of modernity with a deep respect for its history. Barcelona's journey into the 21st century has been one of transformation, resilience, and hope. The city's ongoing commitment to sustainability, cultural expression, and economic growth ensures that it will continue to thrive as a beacon of innovation, creativity, and global influence for generations to come. As Barcelona enters the third decade of the 21st century, it faces a landscape shaped by unprecedented challenges and opportunities. From its rise as a cultural capital and economic hub to its emergence as a leader in innovation, sustainability, and global diplomacy, the city's future holds great promise. Yet, alongside its progress, Barcelona must confront the complex and evolving realities of globalization, political tensions, and socio-economic inequality. In this segment, we'll delve into Barcelona's future, focusing on its role in global diplomacy, the city's economic resilience, and the socio-political challenges it will need to navigate as it moves forward. From its push for greater autonomy within Spain to its climate goals and cultural diplomacy, Barcelona's journey is far from over. It is evolving into a modern model of a city that balances its rich historical legacy with progressive vision. Barcelona has long been a center of cultural influence, but its role as a global city has expanded in recent years. In the 21st century, the city has increasingly positioned itself as a key player in international diplomacy and global governance. With its strategic location in the Mediterranean and its status as a hub for commerce, culture, and innovation, Barcelona has become an influential center for global dialogue. Catalonia's push for autonomy and the ongoing debates over independence have made Barcelona an important player in the politics of Spain and the broader European Union. Catalan leaders continue to advocate for greater self-determination, with Barcelona serving as the city at the heart of this movement. The 2017 Catalan independence referendum, though controversial and ultimately declared illegal by the Spanish government, demonstrated the growing importance of Barcelona in the political landscape of Europe. In addition to political influence, Barcelona is also making its mark in the realm of cultural diplomacy. As one of the most visited cities in Europe, Barcelona serves as a key cultural bridge between the north and south of the continent. It is a hub for arts, education, and technology, drawing people from all over the world who come to experience its rich culture and innovative spirit. In terms of soft power, Barcelona is an influential city that wields its cultural assets and international connections to shape global narratives. Its leadership in sustainability initiatives, its vibrant artistic scene, and its scientific collaborations all contribute to its diplomatic strength, positioning it as a model city for the future. Barcelona's economic future is poised to continue its upward trajectory, but like many cities, it faces the challenge of adapting to a rapidly changing world. Over the past 2 decades, Barcelona has transformed into a hub for startups, technology, and green industries. But as global markets face unprecedented challenges, ranging from the ongoing effects of the COVID-19 pandemic to the climate crisis, Barcelona must remain resilient and adaptable to future uncertainties. The pandemic highlighted the importance of economic diversification. While Barcelona's tourism industry remains a cornerstone of its economy, the city has sought to reduce its dependence on tourism and focus on other areas such as technology, healthcare, and green energy. This economic diversification is key to ensuring that Barcelona remains competitive and resilient, particularly as the world shifts toward a more digital and sustainable economy. One of the city's most exciting developments is the growth of Barcelona as a tech hub. The 22@ district, once an industrial area, has become a hotspot for startups and tech companies in sectors like artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and fintech. The smart city initiatives in Barcelona have helped make the city a leader in urban innovation, with a focus on sustainability, mobility, and data-driven urban planning. Furthermore, Barcelona is focusing on becoming a leader in green industries. The city has committed to becoming carbon neutral by 2050, with ambitious targets for renewable energy, green infrastructure, and sustainable urban planning. The development of eco-friendly buildings, solar power, and electric mobility will be crucial to achieving these goals and ensuring the city's economic sustainability in the future. As cities around the world grapple with the challenges of climate change, Barcelona has taken bold steps to position itself as a leader in sustainability. The city's Green City initiative is aimed at addressing the growing environmental concerns of urban areas while ensuring economic and social resilience. Barcelona has focused on creating a city that is not only livable and sustainable but also economically vibrant and socially inclusive. One of the key aspects of Barcelona's approach to sustainability is the Green Belt. The city has committed to expanding its public parks and green spaces, creating natural reserves around the city to reduce air pollution, provide recreational spaces for residents, and contribute to biodiversity. The Barcelona Green Belt is designed to absorb carbon, provide a buffer against rising temperatures, and improve overall urban resilience in the face of climate challenges. In addition to the Green Belt, the city has invested in sustainable transport solutions, including an expanded network of bicycle lanes, electric vehicle charging stations, and an improved public transportation system. Barcelona's commitment to becoming a carbon-neutral city is also reflected in its efforts to improve waste management, increase the use of renewable energy, and reduce its carbon footprint. The city is also a leader in ecotourism, encouraging tourists to experience the city in an environmentally responsible way. Initiatives like eco-hotels, green rooftops, and sustainable food sourcing help reduce the environmental impact of tourism, while promoting Barcelona as a model for sustainable urban tourism. While Barcelona has made incredible strides in the 21st century, it faces significant socio-political challenges. The city's rapid economic growth has created opportunities for many, but it has also contributed to growing inequality, particularly in terms of housing affordability and income disparity. The housing crisis in Barcelona has become a focal point of social unrest. With the city's popularity as a tourist destination, rents have skyrocketed, forcing many long-term residents out of the city center. The phenomenon of gentrification has led to the displacement of working-class communities, raising concerns about the loss of Barcelona's cultural diversity and its unique identity. Immigration has also become a key issue for the city, as Barcelona has become home to people from all over the world. While immigration has enriched the city culturally, it has also presented challenges related to integration, access to social services, and community cohesion. Barcelona is working to address these issues by focusing on inclusive policies and programs that promote social integration and ensure that immigrants have access to jobs, housing, and social support. At the same time, the city's commitment to social justice has made it a leader in progressive policies. Barcelona's City Council, under the leadership of Ada Colau, has focused on issues like housing rights, gender equality, and workers' rights. The city has established initiatives that promote equality and inclusivity, addressing the needs of marginalized communities, including the LGBTQ+ community, minorities, and refugees. Perhaps the most significant socio-political challenge facing Barcelona in the coming years is the Catalan independence movement. Despite the setback of the failed 2017 independence referendum, the issue of Catalan self-determination remains at the forefront of Barcelona's political discourse. Catalan nationalism continues to be a potent force in Barcelona's political scene. The city remains a key center for the pro-independence movement, with the debate over autonomy and independence still dividing the population. The ongoing political tensions between Barcelona and the Spanish government have created uncertainty, particularly with regards to economic stability and the city's relationship with Madrid. As Barcelona continues to evolve, it must navigate the delicate balance between its Catalan identity and its role within Spain. While the push for self-determination remains strong, there are also calls for dialogue, compromise, and peaceful resolution. The future of Catalonia and Barcelona's place within Spain will undoubtedly shape the city's socio-political landscape for years to come. As we conclude this segment, Barcelona stands at a critical juncture in its history. The city's evolution into a global metropolis is a testament to its resilience, creativity, and capacity for reinvention. Yet, it faces significant challenges, from socio-economic inequality and immigration issues to the ongoing struggle for Catalan autonomy and the broader Spanish political landscape. Despite these challenges, Barcelona's commitment to sustainability, innovation, and cultural expression ensures that it will remain a model for cities around the world. As the city moves forward, it will continue to navigate the complexities of globalization, economic resilience, and social justice, all while holding firm to its unique Catalan identity. As Barcelona steps confidently into the future, its role on the global stage continues to evolve. The city's rapid transformation from a historic Mediterranean port to a global metropolis has made it one of the most influential cities in Europe and the world. But as we look ahead to the next few decades, it is clear that Barcelona's influence will not only be shaped by its economic prowess and cultural vibrancy but by its ability to navigate global challenges, political complexities, and the demands of an increasingly interconnected world. In this segment, we will explore Barcelona's role in global politics, its cultural impact in the 21st century, and how the city's vision for sustainability, innovation, and social justice will continue to define its place in the world. Barcelona's growth, challenges, and opportunities present a fascinating blueprint for cities around the world as they face similar pressures in the age of globalization and climate change. As one of the most prominent cities in Spain, Barcelona continues to play a significant role in both national and international politics. While the Catalan independence movement remains a central issue in the political landscape, the city also faces the broader challenges of maintaining its autonomy within the context of Spain's political structure and European Union membership. In the aftermath of the 2017 Catalan independence referendum, which was declared illegal by the Spanish government, Barcelona has become the epicenter of the ongoing political tension between the Catalan nationalist movement and the central Spanish government. While the push for independence is not universally supported within the city, it remains a significant force, with pro-independence political parties winning a large number of seats in local and regional elections. At the same time, Barcelona's position within the European Union provides it with a unique opportunity to serve as a diplomatic bridge between Catalonia and the rest of Europe. In recent years, the city has positioned itself as a key mediator in European diplomacy, leveraging its global economic connections, its role as a cultural center, and its historic ties to Mediterranean nations. Barcelona's future political path will likely depend on its ability to navigate the delicate balance between Catalan identity and its role in Spain and Europe. As European Union integration continues to shape the political landscape, Barcelona will continue to play a critical role in bridging the gap between regional autonomy and national unity, all while asserting itself as a key player in the global political arena. Beyond its political challenges, Barcelona's cultural influence continues to expand well beyond the Mediterranean. The city's artistic heritage, architectural innovation, and creative industries have positioned it as a cultural leader on the global stage. From the legacy of Antoni Gaudí to the contemporary contributions of modern artists, Barcelona is seen as a vibrant cultural capital in Europe. Barcelona's role in global cultural diplomacy is particularly evident in its international festivals, its art museums, and its thriving film and theater scenes. The Barcelona International Film Festival, the Primavera Sound Music Festival, and the Grec Festival, a celebration of theater and performance, continue to draw global audiences and artists. The city has also become an important hub for literature, design, and fashion, attracting global talent and recognition. At the heart of this cultural diplomacy is Barcelona's commitment to cultural exchange. The city has long welcomed artists, intellectuals, and innovators from around the world, creating a thriving multicultural environment that fosters creativity and cross-cultural dialogue. With its commitment to free expression and the celebration of diverse voices, Barcelona has become a model of how cities can use culture to shape and influence global conversations. The city's rich Catalan heritage continues to be a defining feature of its cultural identity, and its role as a cultural ambassador for the Catalan language and traditions remains a priority. Barcelona's relationship with its historic roots allows it to provide a platform for Catalan artists, musicians, and performers while also embracing the globalization of culture. The city's vision for the future will likely continue to be shaped by its unique blend of tradition and modernity, creating a cultural landscape that remains diverse, inclusive, and constantly evolving. As the world faces unprecedented challenges brought about by globalization, climate change, and economic uncertainty, Barcelona remains a key player in the global economy. The city's ability to adapt to these challenges will be crucial as it continues to grow and thrive in the 21st century. One of Barcelona's greatest strengths is its diversified economy, which spans industries ranging from technology and innovation to tourism, shipping, and fashion. While tourism remains an important source of revenue for the city, Barcelona's economic growth in recent years has been driven by technology, startups, and the green economy. The city's 22@ district, which transformed an old industrial area into a thriving innovation hub, is a prime example of Barcelona's commitment to fostering new industries. The district has attracted thousands of tech startups, biotech companies, and creative industries, making it one of the most dynamic tech centers in Europe. This sector's growth has been supported by Barcelona's focus on education and research, with universities like the Universitat Politècnica de Catalunya and the Universitat de Barcelona providing a constant supply of skilled labor and innovative ideas. Barcelona's commitment to the green economy also plays a central role in its economic future. The city has set ambitious climate goals, with a target of becoming carbon neutral by 2050. This focus on sustainability has spurred innovation in the fields of renewable energy, green buildings, and electric transportation. Barcelona's port, one of the largest in Europe, is also undergoing a transformation to become a leader in sustainable shipping. As the global economy becomes more interconnected, Barcelona will continue to build on its position as a global economic hub, one that values innovation, resilience, and sustainability. The city's ongoing efforts to adapt to technological changes, climate challenges, and economic shifts will ensure that it remains an influential force in the global economy for years to come. As Barcelona continues to expand and modernize, it faces ongoing socio-political challenges that will shape the city's future. Chief among these challenges is the issue of housing inequality, which has become one of the most pressing concerns for residents. The rapid gentrification of neighborhoods, especially in the city center, has led to rising rents and the displacement of long-time residents. Many working-class families have been forced out of the city's historic neighborhoods as wealthy investors and international buyers have driven up property prices. The increase in tourist rentals and the short-term rental market, such as Airbnb, has also exacerbated the housing crisis, making it difficult for locals to afford living in the city. The Barcelona City Council has implemented various policies to address the issue, including the development of affordable housing projects, measures to regulate tourism rental properties, and initiatives to preserve historical neighborhoods. However, addressing the housing crisis remains one of the city's most significant challenges as it continues to attract international attention and investment. Another challenge facing Barcelona is the ongoing debate about Catalan independence. While tensions with the Spanish government have cooled since the 2017 referendum, the issue of Catalan autonomy remains a contentious subject in local politics. Barcelona continues to be the heart of the Catalan independence movement, and political divisions between pro-independence factions and those seeking greater autonomy within Spain are likely to continue shaping the city's future. Barcelona, as we've seen throughout its history, is a city of contradictions and transformation. From its medieval roots to its rise as a global cultural and economic hub, the city has been shaped by its unique history, political struggles, and innovative spirit. Now, as Barcelona stands at the threshold of the future, it must navigate complex challenges while continuing to build on its strengths. The city's future will be defined by its ability to embrace global diplomacy, foster economic growth, and address socio-political inequalities while preserving its Catalan identity. With a focus on sustainability, innovation, and inclusivity, Barcelona is poised to remain a model city for the 21st century, one that offers hope, opportunity, and inspiration to cities around the world. As we continue our journey through the dynamic history of Barcelona, we now find ourselves deep in the complexities of the 21st century. The city has undergone profound transformations, both culturally and economically. Barcelona is no longer merely a city of rich history and modern innovation, but a symbol of resilience, identity, and political evolution. In this segment, we will explore Barcelona's socio-political landscape, its efforts to revive its economy after global crises, and the steps it is taking toward becoming a more inclusive and sustainable city. From the persistence of Catalan independence debates to the integration of new technologies and sustainable infrastructure, Barcelona's future is being shaped by its ability to adapt to an ever-changing world. One of the defining features of Barcelona's 21st century socio-political landscape is the enduring issue of Catalan independence. While the Spanish Civil War and the subsequent Franco regime left deep scars in the city's collective memory, the drive for Catalan self-determination has surged in recent decades, reaching its zenith in the 2017 referendum. Barcelona remains the epicenter of the independence movement. It is not merely a city that houses Catalan nationalists but a place where the political, social, and cultural pulse of the independence movement is felt every day. The Catalan parliament, located in Barcelona, continues to push for greater autonomy within Spain and, for some, complete independence. Despite the Spanish government's resistance, Barcelona's influence is significant. The city plays a crucial role as a political voice for Catalonia, regularly pushing for reform and autonomy. This desire for independence is not just a political issue, it is also deeply cultural, with a clear connection to the Catalan language, the city's historic identity, and its resilience in the face of historical suppression. The 2017 independence referendum marked a turning point for the city. It was a bold statement, though illegal under Spanish law, of the city's desire for self-rule. Despite the controversial nature of the referendum, Barcelona remains a central player in the ongoing conversation about Catalan identity and the future of Spain's political unity. While the independence movement has provided Barcelona with a strong sense of identity, it has also led to political divisions within the city. In the years following the referendum, the political landscape of Barcelona became increasingly polarized. The city's streets are often filled with passionate demonstrations for both independence and unity, creating a complex and sometimes tense environment. The working-class neighborhoods in Barcelona have historically supported the Republican left-wing movements, while middle-class areas tend to be more pro-unity and conservative in their stance towards Spanish sovereignty. This division plays out in local elections, protests, and political discourse, and it often causes tension within Barcelona's population. In addition to the issue of Catalan independence, the political unrest in the form of general strikes, riots, and protests has been a frequent occurrence in recent years. These are driven by issues such as housing inequality, immigration, and unemployment, problems that have become more prominent as Barcelona's rapid urbanization and globalization have intensified. Barcelona's resilience, however, continues to shine through. Despite the political divide, the city is known for its ability to continue moving forward, embracing democratic reforms, and fostering dialogue between political opponents. The situation is complex, but the city's commitment to inclusion, democracy, and progress remains a fundamental driving force in its evolution. Barcelona faced significant challenges in the early 21st century. The city's economic landscape was hit hard by the global financial crisis of 2008, which sent shockwaves through Spain. Unemployment, bankruptcies, and a downturn in key industries like real estate and tourism created a sense of economic instability. However, Barcelona demonstrated incredible resilience and adaptability. The city's efforts to diversify its economy in the wake of the crisis have proved successful, allowing it to emerge as a hub for technology, innovation, and green industries. In particular, Barcelona's commitment to becoming a technological center has paid off. The city has attracted a growing number of startups, particularly in sectors like biotech, fintech, and artificial intelligence. The creation of the 22@ district, once an industrial wasteland, has transformed Barcelona into one of the leading tech hubs in Europe. The development of green industries is another critical part of Barcelona's economic recovery. As part of its commitment to sustainability, Barcelona has made significant investments in renewable energy, clean transportation, and eco-friendly infrastructure. These efforts have not only contributed to the city's economic resilience but have also reinforced its reputation as a leader in sustainable urban planning. Moreover, Barcelona's tourism industry continues to be a major economic driver. While the COVID-19 pandemic greatly affected global tourism, Barcelona has bounced back by focusing on high-quality tourism that balances the needs of local residents with those of global visitors. The city's iconic landmarks, from Gaudia's Sagrada Familia to the Barceloneta beach, remain major attractions, and the city's commitment to sustainable tourism ensures that its charm is preserved for future generations. As Barcelona continues to grow and evolve, its urban planning has become a central focus of the city's future. The city has embraced the idea of becoming a smart city, a city that uses technology and data to create more efficient, livable, and sustainable urban environments. Barcelona's smart city initiatives are wide-ranging. The city has incorporated data analytics, IoT, Internet of Things, devices, and sensor technology into its infrastructure to improve everything from traffic flow to waste management. Barcelona's public transport network has been enhanced by electric buses, and bicycle lanes have become a prominent feature of the city's commitment to green mobility. The Barcelona Superblock project has also become an innovative solution to urban congestion. The idea behind the project is to create pedestrian-friendly zones and reduce car traffic in key urban areas, creating eco-friendly neighborhoods where people can live, work, and play without the constant stress of traffic and pollution. This initiative has been hailed as a model for cities around the world looking to balance urbanization with environmental sustainability. By investing in these smart technologies, Barcelona is positioning itself to be a model of urban sustainability. The city's ongoing green initiatives, such as the expansion of green spaces and green roofs, also contribute to its goal of becoming a carbon-neutral city by 2050. As Barcelona undergoes rapid urban transformation, it is also grappling with socio-economic inequality. While the city's economic recovery has been impressive, the wealth gap between the upper classes and working-class communities has grown, leading to a surge in housing prices, displacement, and gentrification. Affordable housing remains one of the most pressing issues in the city. As property prices soar, many residents have been forced out of the central areas, particularly in neighborhoods like El Raval and Poblenou. The influx of international investors and the short-term rental market have exacerbated the problem, pushing local residents out of their own city. The Barcelona City Council has taken steps to address this issue by regulating short-term rentals, encouraging the construction of affordable housing, and investing in the social infrastructure of working-class neighborhoods. Social justice remains a key priority, with policies aimed at reducing inequality, increasing access to quality education, and improving healthcare for all residents. Barcelona's commitment to gender equality is also central to its social agenda. The city has implemented gender-sensitive policies in areas such as urban planning, public transportation, and housing, ensuring that women and marginalized communities have equal access to the opportunities and benefits of urban life. At the heart of Barcelona's future is its Catalan identity. Barcelona is a city that fiercely defends its heritage, its language, and its culture. Despite the challenges posed by Catalan independence movements, Barcelona remains committed to preserving its Catalan roots while embracing the opportunities of the globalized world. The city's ability to balance its local identity with global connectivity will define its future. While Catalan nationalism remains a key political issue, Barcelona has shown an impressive ability to integrate its historical identity with its modern role as a global economic and cultural hub. The challenge for Barcelona in the years to come will be maintaining this balance, ensuring that its Catalan culture is not lost in the face of globalization, while continuing to play an influential role on the world stage. Barcelona stands at the intersection of history, modernity, and future challenges. From the political tensions surrounding Catalan independence to the city's ambitious goals of sustainability and economic growth, Barcelona's future is one of complexity and promise. The city's resilience, its ability to reinvent itself in the face of economic crises, political struggles, and global pressures, will continue to define its path forward. With a commitment to social justice, green innovation, and cultural expression, Barcelona is poised to remain one of the most influential cities in the world. As we explore the history of Barcelona, we begin not in the present day, but in the distant past. From its origins as a Roman settlement to its rise as a medieval kingdom, Barcelona has always been a city shaped by the forces of history, culture, and conquest. In this segment, we will embark on a journey back through time, tracing the roots of Barcelona from its founding through its Roman and Visigothic periods, its evolution during the Middle Ages, and its flourishing as a Catalan capital in the later centuries. We'll witness the significant events, political shifts, and cultural developments that made Barcelona one of the most remarkable cities in European history. The history of Barcelona begins over 2,000 years ago, in the days when the Romans expanded their empire across the Mediterranean. The city's roots lie in a Roman settlement known as Barcino, established around 15 BCE on a small hill near the Roman road that connected Rome to the rest of the empire. Barcino, though a modest settlement, was strategically located near the sea and rivers, providing access to key trade routes and fertile lands. The Romans built their settlement with typical Roman engineering, creating a grid pattern of streets, which still influences the layout of modern Barcelona's Gothic quarter. The early Roman settlers were responsible for building a series of structures that would lay the foundation for Barcelona's growth. Roman walls, remnants of which still stand in parts of the Gothic quarter, protected the city. Bathhouses, temples, and theatre ruins speak to the Roman influence that endured in the city long after the fall of the Roman Empire. As Barcino flourished under Roman rule, it became an important trade hub for goods moving throughout the Mediterranean. The city's role in Rome's provincial system grew, and it remained a vital point of connection in the empire for several centuries. This early Roman foundation laid the groundwork for Barcelona's rise to prominence in the centuries to come. Following the fall of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, the Visigoths took control of much of the Iberian Peninsula, including Barcino. Under Visigothic rule, the city began to take on new importance as a center of Christianity. In 711 CE, however, the Moors from North Africa invaded the Iberian Peninsula, marking the beginning of the Muslim occupation that would last for nearly 800 years. Before this shift, during the Visigothic period, Christianity began to play a central role in the city's cultural and religious life. The Basilica of Santa Maria was built as one of the first major churches in the city, and it remains an important landmark in the history of Barcelona's religious evolution. While the Visigoths ruled from Barcelona, they brought new political systems and laws that contributed to the structure of what would later become the Catalan region. The seeds of Catalan identity began to form during this time, though the Visigothic period was short-lived compared to the influence of the Moors and subsequent Christian reconquest. When the Moors arrived on the Iberian Peninsula in 711 CE, they quickly seized control of much of the territory, including Barcelona. Under Muslim rule, the city flourished, becoming an important center for trade, culture, and science. Barcelona, like many cities in the Al-Andalus territory, experienced a period of cultural richness and intellectual growth. The Arab influence on Barcelona is still visible in some of the city's architecture and culture today. The Moorish rulers constructed new fortifications and buildings in the city, and their presence encouraged a flourishing of scientific knowledge and trade. The most important legacy of the Islamic period in Barcelona was the city's position as a cultural and commercial crossroads between the Islamic world and Christian Europe. Under the Caliphate of Córdoba, trade routes connecting the Mediterranean and North Africa flowed through the city, making Barcelona a vital part of the Islamic trade network. The moat-like walls built during the Moorish rule would later serve as a foundation for the city's growth when it was reconquered by Charlemagne and the Franks in the 9th century. Despite being ruled by the Moors, Barcelona retained its importance as a political and economic hub that later proved essential for the Christian Reconquista. The Carolingian Empire, led by Charlemagne in the late 8th century, launched a series of campaigns to reclaim territories in the Iberian Peninsula. Barcelona, strategically located between the Christian and Muslim territories, became a crucial city in the effort to push back the Moors. In 801 CE, Charlemagne's forces successfully captured Barcelona, beginning the Christian reconquest of the city. The conquest of Barcelona marked a significant turning point, as the city returned to Christian control under the Frankish Empire. Charlemagne's successor, Louis the Pious, established the county of Barcelona as a vassal state within his Carolingian Empire. Under the Carolingian rule, Barcelona began to re-establish itself as a Christian stronghold in the Mediterranean. The city's political and economic systems began to shift, as local lords and noble families began to assert their influence. It was during this time that the Catalan identity began to take shape, a precursor to the later rise of Catalonia as an autonomous region within Spain. By the 12th century, Barcelona had become one of the most powerful cities in the Crown of Aragon. The Crown of Aragon was a medieval Christian kingdom that united the territories of Aragon, Catalonia, and Valencia. Barcelona was not only the capital of Catalonia but also a major port in the Mediterranean, establishing itself as a crucial center for trade, politics, and culture. In 1137, Barcelona was united with the Kingdom of Aragon through the marriage of Count Ramon Berenguer IV of Barcelona and Petronilla of Aragon. This union formed the Crown of Aragon, creating a powerful kingdom that would dominate much of the Mediterranean. During the 12th and 13th centuries, Barcelona experienced a golden age. The city became a major center for trade, especially in goods like wool, wine, and salt, and it boasted a thriving maritime economy. Catalan merchants expanded trade routes across the Mediterranean, connecting Barcelona to Italy, North Africa, and even the Middle East. By the 15th century, the Crown of Aragon began to experience internal strife and external threats. The marriage of Ferdinand of Aragon and Isabella of Castile in 1469 led to the formation of Spain as a unified state. This consolidation of power resulted in a decline in Barcelona's political influence, as the Spanish monarchy took greater control over its territories. The War of the Spanish Succession, 1701–1714, marked the final blow to Barcelona's independence as a separate entity. The Bourbon monarchy defeated the forces of the Habsburgs, who had ruled the Crown of Aragon, and Barcelona fell to the Bourbon forces. This event signified the end of Catalonia's autonomy and the beginning of a long period of centralized Spanish rule. During this period, Catalan culture was severely suppressed, and the Catalan language was banned from official use. This marked the beginning of a decline in Barcelona's political power, though the city retained its importance as a commercial hub. From its humble Roman beginnings as Barcino to its rise as the economic and political heart of the Crown of Aragon, Barcelona's history is a testament to its resilience and adaptability. The city has survived conquests, wars, and cultural shifts, each time emerging stronger and more vibrant. As we close this chapter in the city's history, we reflect on how Barcelona's early foundations shaped its future, setting the stage for the 21st century metropolis that stands as a beacon of cultural heritage, innovation, and global influence. As we reach the 20th century, Barcelona emerges not just as a city of ancient heritage and cultural transformation, but as a symbol of modernity, resilience, and revolution. From the Industrial Revolution to the Spanish Civil War, and through the rise and fall of dictatorships, Barcelona faced countless trials, but it never lost its identity as a cultural beacon and a center for artistic innovation. In this segment, we will explore how Barcelona's transformation continued through the modern era, touching on the city's industrialization, its central role in the Spanish Civil War, its recovery under the Franco regime, and its cultural renaissance post-Franco. We will also discuss how Barcelona's contemporary identity was shaped in the late 20th and early 21st centuries, emerging as a global metropolis that seamlessly blends history, culture, and innovation. The Industrial Revolution of the 19th century radically transformed Barcelona, as it did for many cities across Europe. In the early stages of industrialization, Barcelona was primarily known for its textile and manufacturing industries, which fueled the city's economic growth and provided jobs for thousands. The city's development during this time laid the foundation for the modern urban landscape. Barcelona's population began to grow rapidly as people from the surrounding countryside moved into the city in search of work. With the expansion of industries like cotton mills, factories, and iron works, the city became a hub for commercial activity and technological innovation. However, this growth also brought social inequality, as many workers lived in poor conditions in overcrowded neighborhoods, especially in the expanding industrial districts like El Raval. As the city grew, the Catalan bourgeoisie and the working class became increasingly divided. The working class, many of whom were members of anarchist and socialist movements, began to demand better working conditions, higher wages, and social reforms. The tension between the bourgeoisie and the working class set the stage for future political struggles that would define the city throughout the 20th century. Barcelona's modern history is inseparable from the rise of Catalan nationalism and its role in the Spanish Civil War. The 20th century saw an intense struggle for Catalan autonomy, with the city becoming a focal point for nationalist movements. In the early years of the century, Catalonia experienced a cultural renaissance known as the Renaixenca, a period of cultural revival that reinvigorated the Catalan language and identity. The Modernism movement, led by artists like Antoni Gaudí and Lluís Domènech i Montaner, represented a turning point for the city. Barcelona became the center of Catalan modernism, which sought to express Catalan culture in the language of art and architecture. However, with the rise of the Franco regime in the 1930s, this cultural revival would face brutal repression. The Spanish Civil War, 1936 to 1939, was a turning point for Barcelona. The city was at the heart of the Republican resistance to General Francisco Franco's nationalists. Barcelona became a key stronghold for anarchists, socialists, and communists fighting against the fascist forces. The Republicans were largely supported by the working class of the city, while the nationalists were backed by the Spanish military and conservative forces. The fall of Barcelona to Franco's forces in 1939 marked the end of the Spanish Civil War and the beginning of a dictatorship that would last for nearly 40 years. During this time, Catalan culture and language were suppressed, and political opposition was crushed. Despite the repression, Barcelona remained an important cultural center, and the Catalan identity continued to thrive in secret, often expressed through underground movements, literature, and art. Under the rule of Francisco Franco, Barcelona experienced a period of political suppression and economic hardship. The Franco regime imposed strict controls on Catalonia, banning the Catalan language and suppressing regional identity. The city's streets were patrolled by military police, and cultural expression was restricted. However, despite the oppression, Barcelona remained an important economic center. The city continued to grow, albeit more slowly, as industries like textiles and shipping remained vital to the Spanish economy. Barcelona also maintained its position as an important hub for international trade, thanks to its port, one of the largest in the Mediterranean. During the 1970s, as Franco's health deteriorated and the regime began to crumble, Barcelona became a focal point of political activism and social movements. The return of democracy to Spain after Franco's death in 1975 sparked a wave of political reforms and social changes. In Barcelona, the cultural scene flourished once more, as the city embraced freedom of expression and the revival of Catalan traditions. The 1970s and 1980s saw a resurgence of Catalan language, culture, and political activism. One of the most defining moments in Barcelona's modern history came with the 1992 Summer Olympics. Awarded to Barcelona in 1986, the Olympics served as a catalyst for urban transformation, economic growth, and global recognition. The city used the Olympics as an opportunity to revitalize its infrastructure and modernize its urban spaces. The beachfront area, once dominated by industrial wastelands, was transformed into a world-class tourist destination with new parks, beaches, and tourist facilities. The construction of the Olympic Village, the Olympic Stadium, and the expansion of public transportation helped to modernize the city and promote Barcelona as a global city. The Olympics also marked a cultural and symbolic rebirth for the city. For many, the event represented the end of Barcelona's period of political repression and the beginning of a new era of economic prosperity and cultural pride. The Catalan flag once again flew openly throughout the city, and the Catalan language was publicly celebrated. The Olympics allowed Barcelona to present itself to the world not just as a Spanish city, but as a proud Catalan capital with a unique identity. The post-Olympic period saw Barcelona continue its trajectory as one of Europe's leading cities. The city experienced rapid growth, with a focus on cultural industries, technology, and sustainability. Barcelona's economic diversification was key to its success. The city became a center for tourism, technology, and startups. The 22@ district, an area once filled with old factories, became a thriving center for innovation, housing tech companies, universities, and research institutions. At the same time, Barcelona continued to embrace its rich cultural heritage. The Sagrada Familia, Parc Güell, and other Gaudí masterpieces continued to attract millions of visitors from around the world. The city also became a leader in art, with museums like the Museu Picasso and Museu d'Art Contemporani solidifying Barcelona's place as a cultural capital. The city also became known for its sustainability efforts, leading in areas like green architecture, public transportation, and smart city technologies. With initiatives like bicycle lanes, solar energy, and public parks, Barcelona is striving to be a model for other cities in terms of sustainability and eco-friendliness. However, despite its modernity, Barcelona still faces challenges. Housing prices have soared, leading to a housing crisis that is pushing many residents out of the city center. Gentrification is rampant, particularly in neighborhoods like El Raval and Poblenou, where the arrival of international investors has led to the displacement of local residents. From its humble beginnings as the Roman settlement of Barcino, to its rise as a powerful city-state in the Crown of Aragon, through the repression of the Franco years, and into its modern era as a global city, Barcelona has undergone a series of transformations that have shaped its modern identity. The city's ability to adapt to the changing tides of history, from industrialization to war, from dictatorship to democracy, and from local struggles to global influence, has made Barcelona a symbol of resilience and rebirth. The 1992 Olympics marked a key moment in its evolution, setting the stage for its future as a hub for culture, business, and innovation. Barcelona is now a city at the forefront of global politics, culture, and sustainability. As it faces new challenges, it will continue to grow as a beacon of Catalan pride, modernity, and inclusivity, offering lessons to cities around the world on how to embrace both their historic roots and modern aspirations. As we look ahead to the future of Barcelona, it's clear that this city, forged through centuries of resilience, transformation, and growth, is poised to continue its journey as one of the world's most influential cities. Barcelona has undergone a series of shifts throughout its history, from a small Roman settlement to a global cultural hub, and now, in the 21st century, it is navigating new challenges and opportunities that will define its future trajectory. In this segment, we will explore Barcelona's vision for the future. From its commitment to sustainability, innovation, and smart city development, to its role in global diplomacy and cultural leadership, Barcelona is positioning itself as a model for cities seeking to adapt to the changing dynamics of a rapidly evolving world. At the heart of Barcelona's future lies its smart city vision. The city has long been a leader in urban innovation, with a forward-thinking approach to technology and sustainability. In the coming decades, Barcelona aims to leverage digital technologies to improve the quality of life for its residents and visitors while addressing the challenges posed by rapid urbanization, climate change, and economic inequality. Barcelona's approach to being a smart city is not just about cutting-edge technology, it is about creating a city that balances growth with sustainability, connectivity, and inclusivity. Data-driven solutions are at the core of Barcelona's smart city initiatives, using sensors, IoT devices, and open data platforms to create more efficient, livable, and eco-friendly urban spaces. One of the city's key goals is to become a carbon-neutral city by 2050, and its focus on renewable energy and sustainable development is already well underway. From the green rooftops that adorn buildings throughout the city to the electric bus fleet and bike-sharing programs, Barcelona is dedicated to reducing its carbon footprint and encouraging more sustainable mobility. The Superblocks initiative, where car-free zones are being developed in neighborhoods, is another key part of Barcelona's smart city vision. The goal is to reduce traffic congestion, improve air quality, and make the city more pedestrian-friendly. This plan not only improves the quality of life for residents but also helps reduce pollution, making Barcelona a model for other cities looking to address the environmental challenges of urbanization. Barcelona has long been known as a cultural capital, and its future is no different. The city is committed to being at the forefront of art, design, literature, music, and theater. In the 21st century, Barcelona will continue to embrace its role as a global cultural hub, supporting creative industries and fostering cultural exchange with cities across the world. Barcelona's rich modernist architecture, epitomized by the works of Antoni Gaudí, remains one of its defining features. Yet, the city's commitment to artistic innovation extends beyond the past. The art scene in Barcelona is thriving, with a growing number of art galleries, museums, and creative spaces that celebrate both traditional Catalan culture and contemporary global trends. The Fundació Joan Miró and the Museu Picasso are just two examples of Barcelona's world-class cultural institutions, and they continue to draw visitors and artists from across the globe. But Barcelona is not just about preserving its artistic heritage, it is about creating an environment where artists and creative professionals can experiment, collaborate, and push the boundaries of artistic expression. Through the Barcelona Cultural Innovation Hub, the city has positioned itself as a leader in creative industries, with a particular emphasis on design, fashion, and digital arts. The city's vibrant artistic community is an important part of its identity, and Barcelona's cultural institutions will continue to play a critical role in shaping global conversations around creativity and art. Barcelona's economic future looks promising as the city continues to diversify its industries. Historically, Barcelona has been a commercial hub, and in the 21st century, it is poised to continue to thrive in an increasingly globalized economy. Technology, green energy, and biotechnology are just some of the sectors that are expected to shape Barcelona's economy in the coming decades. The 22@ district, one of the city's most innovative areas, is home to a growing number of startups and tech companies. This transformation from a former industrial area to a global tech hub is indicative of Barcelona's vision for the future. The city is dedicated to fostering innovation, with a particular emphasis on artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and sustainable technology. Barcelona is also positioning itself as a leader in green industries. Its sustainability agenda, which includes ambitious goals like zero waste, smart grids, and sustainable mobility, will continue to attract both investment and talent. The city is already a leader in smart city technology, and as more cities around the world look to Barcelona's model, the city is set to become a key player in green tech and renewable energy. Barcelona's economy has also benefited from its growing prominence as a global tourist destination. The city has long been one of the most visited cities in Europe, thanks to its rich history, modern amenities, and vibrant culture. The city continues to evolve its approach to tourism by focusing on sustainable tourism practices and improving the quality of visitor experiences. With a focus on eco-friendly options for travelers, Barcelona is positioning itself as a model for responsible tourism. As Barcelona continues to grow and thrive, it faces the ongoing challenge of social inequality and housing affordability. The city's rapid growth, fueled by both tourism and economic development, has led to rising property prices, gentrification, and the displacement of long-term residents. The city's housing crisis is one of its most pressing issues. While tourism remains an economic driver, the rise of short-term rentals and real estate speculation has led to a sharp increase in housing prices, particularly in neighborhoods like El Raval and Poblenou. Many locals are being pushed out of the city center, and there is growing concern over the loss of Barcelona's cultural diversity and local character. In response to these challenges, Barcelona City Council has implemented a series of housing reforms aimed at providing affordable housing for the city's residents. The city is working to increase the supply of public housing, regulate short-term rentals, and protect the integrity of historical neighborhoods. Social justice is at the heart of these reforms, as Barcelona continues to strive for a more equitable and inclusive urban environment. Moreover, Barcelona is committed to fostering a sense of community and inclusion. The city has made great strides in addressing gender inequality, immigrant integration, and LGBTQ+ rights. Programs aimed at improving access to education, healthcare, and employment opportunities for all residents will be essential as the city continues to evolve. As a major European city, Barcelona is increasingly stepping into the arena of global diplomacy. The city's political influence has expanded as it takes a leading role in discussions about Catalan autonomy and the broader European Union. Barcelona's position as a Mediterranean hub places it in a unique position to act as a bridge between Europe, Africa, and the Middle East. The city continues to play a critical role in fostering international partnerships, particularly in the fields of trade, culture, and sustainability. Barcelona hosts a number of important global events, such as the Mobile World Congress, and it is increasingly seen as a city that facilitates dialogue and cooperation across borders. The city is also an active participant in European Union policy discussions, particularly in areas related to sustainability, immigration, and urban development. As Barcelona continues to grow in global prominence, it will likely play an even more significant role in shaping international conversations on issues of political and economic importance. Looking ahead, Barcelona is poised to continue its trajectory as one of the world's most dynamic, sustainable, and innovative cities. The city's commitment to smart technologies, economic diversification, cultural excellence, and social justice will shape its future as a global metropolis. Barcelona's path forward is one of resilience, adaptability, and creativity. The city's ongoing efforts to tackle housing inequality, embrace sustainability, and strengthen its Catalan identity in a globalized world will ensure that it remains a leading city in the 21st century. As Barcelona continues to grow, its future will be defined by the way it integrates its rich cultural history with its commitment to modern innovation, creating a city that is as vibrant and forward-thinking as it is historically significant. As we reach the end of our journey through Barcelona's history, we are reminded of the remarkable resilience and transformative spirit that have shaped this iconic city over the centuries. From its humble beginnings as a Roman settlement to its rise as a global metropolis in the 21st century, Barcelona continues to stand as a beacon of cultural heritage, economic innovation, and political resilience. In every corner of the city, from the Gothic quarter to the modern 22nd district, the echoes of its past can be heard in the hustle and bustle of its streets. Gaudi's masterpieces remain timeless, while contemporary architectural wonders reflect Barcelona's commitment to sustainability and progress. The city has faced challenges and triumphs alike, yet it has always emerged stronger, more vibrant, and ready to embrace the future. Barcelona's journey is far from over. As it looks toward the future, the city will continue to lead in innovation, culture, and global influence. Its vision for a sustainable, inclusive, and connected future ensures that it will remain one of the most inspiring cities in the world. But now, we turn the conversation over to you. What part of Barcelona's journey stood out to you the most? Whether it's the ancient Roman origins, the Catalan resilience, or the modern-day transformation, we'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and share which chapter in Barcelona's rich history resonated with you. And if you enjoyed this journey through time, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more stories about cities, culture, and history that you can drift off to sleep with. It's always a pleasure to share these narratives with you. Before you go, one last question for you: where are you listening from tonight? And what time is it where you are? I always love seeing how far the reach of these stories goes. And, as you look up at the night sky, take a moment to think about how far back the history of places like Barcelona stretches, shaping not just the city, but the very world we live in today. Thank you for being part of this journey through time. Until next time, rest well, and may the stories of Barcelona's past and future linger in your dreams.